Hey, Nat, how are we doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm
How are
good.
you
I'm good.
doing? Awesome. Well, for all of you guys watching, happy Wednesday. And today we're going to be doing a Facebook Live, of course, on 5 different conditions that can connect secondary to mental health. If you are available right now, if you can just go ahead and put into the chat, like a little bit about you, where you're tuning in from, your branch, and your years of service, and we'll go ahead and shout you out.
For
Welcome, welcome.
sure. Welcome, everyone. Yes, like Nat said, happy Wednesday to veterans. Thank you for spending some time with us today. And before we get started with today's topic, like Nat said, also sound off in the comments who you served with, when you served, if you're stationed in some cool locations too. That's also very warranted. And we'll grab onto those comments too and give your shout outs.
Yep, and also we're going to give it about 5 minutes before we get started. Hi, Donna. Welcome. Maryland, U.S. Air Force. Cool. JB.
Carol from Albuquerque, Army vet, was in Germany. I was also in Germany probably much after you were there, but loved it over there. I did a 5-year tour.
Oh, nice. 5 years.
Counting deployments. But yeah, total of 5 years. It was awesome.
Learn any German?
Very little. How to order, how to say hello and goodbye and stuff like that. Just the basics. Another Army vet, Jeffrey, welcome, welcome. Don Burns, Navy vet. Welcome home. Welcome, everyone. Welcome,
JB, U.S. Air
Orville.
Force.
Welcome, Johnny Ray, Kansas City, coming to us.
Jeffrey, welcome, welcome. Hi, Maggie, another Army vet, 5 years. Beautiful. We've got some Navy vets here.
Here they come trickling in. Welcome, David, Navy vets. Lawrence, also Navy vets.
Go Navy.
Sorry. Mary, United States Air Force, thank you for your 20-year service. That's tremendous. Maggie, welcome as well from Delaware. Boss Strokes, a Navy vet as well, out there from Chicago. Rob Ben from Hudson Valley, New York. Army vet, welcome, welcome. Go Army.
Oliver, Marines. That's our
Oh, there's a Marine. I was like waiting for one to come in. Welcome, Oliver. Thanks for stopping by and joining us for this topic in this Facebook Live. What I notice about these lives too, Nat, is also that we see a wide spectrum of where people were at and what time frame they were into. That's the kind of cool part too. You know as well as anybody else in this that my Vietnam War vets hold a large piece of my heart because my dad was a Vietnam War vet.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. We've got Melvin. Welcome, Melvin. North Carolina. Oh, is that 24 years? Beautiful.
Absolutely. Welcome, Angela Moreland, United States Air Force veteran.
Sergio, airborne. Paul Davidson, welcome. Johnny Ray, welcome, welcome. Fort Ord. Yeah, a lot of bases have actually closed down lately.
Yeah, Fort Ord, Fort McClellan. There's quite a few out there that vets were at before that, but they're long and gone now.
John Trump, familiar name. Hi, John.
Welcome, welcome. We see you at Coffee with the Coaches. Thanks for stopping by.
Beautiful. So we are 5 after the hour. My name's Coach Natalie Jones. I'm a veteran coach here. I served in the Navy, and I did about I did 3.5 years, close to 4, a little bit over that half mark, as a communications officer stationed out of Norfolk. Didn't get a chance to go anywhere fun. I swam and spun around the vacates a lot of the time. But I was an elite service member here, and I went through this program, started at 90%, worked my way all the way up to 90, and needed a little bit of help. So I actually became a member first, similar to a lot of folks in the chat here. And then I had an amazing coach, actually my boss, and was able to get to that 100%. And what brought me here at the VACI, I've always worked with veterans since I got out of service in 2015, whether it was helping find jobs or working with service animals. This just seemed like the right place to be. Me struggling through my own claims and realizing that there was a need for others to learn more about the process. I love educating, and so that's how I ended up here. And we'll have Ian introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. I'm veteran coach Ian McFarland here with VA Claims Insider. I was a United States Army veteran for 12 years, a total from 97 to 98, a little bit after in 98 as 11 Mike, was a mechanized infantry, and then I joined back up in 2005, stayed until 2015, and got medically retired at 90% after deploying to both Afghanistan and Iraq. Stationed at Fort Carson in Germany, and then I retired out of Fort Hood here in Texas. I was an elite member, but actually came on board as what used to be called a BDR, now it's called a veteran ambassador. Did that for approximately a year, but during that time frame that I was a veteran ambassador, I did become an elite member as well. Got a coach. He's no longer here with us as far as with the company, but got a coach and worked with him, used Telemedica, and got to 100% permanent total the same day and the same time that our coach over here, Coach Natalie, did as well. We called Hundo twins now here in the company. We have another coach here as well, not the same year, but the same day as well. But anyways, that's what brought me here. It was really the purpose. I got offered a 6-figure job, and I just felt that, giving back to my veterans and being able to have that camaraderie again was the reason why I wanted to become a veteran coach. And really, this is a purpose and a calling, not so much a job anymore. So
mission and impact driven. Absolutely. Right. And so before I get started with our disclaimer, I want to say thank you to everyone that's on the call today. Thank you so much for your service. And we're always here to educate, coach, and support all vets. All right, so our disclaimer: we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our preferred provider network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions for a wide range of disability conditions. All right, so first things first, if you're interested in learning more about our process and what we do, one thing that we know is that strategy, education, and medical evidence is what wins claims. If you were to sign up today, you would get one-on-one coaching, which includes a strategy. We would coach you on your claim submission and then also educating you on the CMP process. Each week, we have live Zoom classes. Those are 3 days a week. That includes coffee with the coaches. We have mental health exam education course as well as medical exam education. And then if you do sign up, there's also a new client orientation that kind of gives you the layout of what we do, how we do it, and what expectations you can have of us and what we'll have of you. So if you are interested, please sign up for a discovery call if you want to learn more. You can schedule that call today and you can talk with one of the members of our team. You can also go to vaclaims.help.
All right, so discussing what we're going to talk about, according to the top 50 VA disability claims, depression is the 14th most claimed disability. So we're here talking about some claims that are conditions that are secondary to mental health. Well, the average of VA rating for depression is 70%, making it a high value VA claim. Did you know there's 5 other high value VA disabilities? We're going to go over a few of those. Rated at 30% or above, that can be medically linked to an aggravation and claimed as secondary to service-connected depression. In our experience, many veterans don't realize that they qualify for a variety of additional VA disability benefits due to the current service-connected depression. Here's why. Because veterans aren't medical experts, nor should we be, and yet VA disability claims depend mostly entirely upon medical evidence. Key part, Coach Nally mentioned that before, medical evidence is what wins claims. Depression can be significant debilitating effects on veterans, especially due to the side effects of medications taken to manage our mental health symptoms, often leading to a variety of disabling conditions such as migraines, sleep apnea, GERD, IBS, erectile dysfunction, and female sexual arousal disorder. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. Top 5 VA secondary conditions that are approximately due to or aggravated by service-connected depression. So how to establish service connection for secondary depression. In accordance to the 30 CFR 3.310, disabilities are approximately due to or aggravated by service-connected disease or injury, current disability condition, which is approximately due to the result of service connection disease or injury, shall be service connected. Service connection on secondary basis requires a showing of causation. So what caused that condition, whether from service or from another condition. Showing a causation requires a secondary disability claim being shown to approximately due to the aggravated by another service connection. So say, for example, you've got, just as argument purposes, tinnitus, or you've got another condition that's aggravating it, and we're talking about secondaries to mental health. So maybe your mental health has aggravated another condition as well, or vice versa. These are 3 evidentiary elements that can be satisfied in service connection secondary conditions to depression. Okay, number 1, a medical diagnosis of a secondary disability condition you're attempting to link to depression, and a current service-connected condition, primary disability, your current depression, VA disability rating, and medical nexus evidence establishes a connection between the service-connected depression and the current disability you're trying to connect. Okay, we're talking about those secondaries. Migraine, sleep apnea, GERD, ED, IBS, and female sexual arousal disorder. So the first part can be satisfied with existing medical evidence. Okay, no matter what that medical evidence is, whether it's private, VA records, or your STRs or service treat records, or your SRBs, your service record briefs, whichever service that you served with, it's different for each one. Was existing medical evidence in service treat records and medical records or private medical records, as I just said. Second part of the satisfaction with the veteran's existing service-connected disability rating at 0% or higher, which in case is depression. Third part, often the missing link needed to establish secondary service connection can be satisfied with a credible nexus. So we're looking for that link to service that would show that. And or also known as an independent medical opinion for a qualified medical provider. So wondering why and how find the doctors who write the nexus letters. So this is kind of a around the tree type of thing that people look for. They're looking for that specific spot where you can find it, where it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. Did you know that there are 5 primary high-value VA disability conditions that can be medically linked secondary to your current VA disability rating? Truth bombs here. You could be missing out on thousands of dollars of tax-free disability benefits you deserve by law and not even realize that your current VA disability might be caused by an aggravated service-connected condition to depression. Okay, so list of those 5 again. Number 1 is migraine, secondary depression, sleep apnea, secondary depression, GERD, IBS, and ED. And I'm going to let Coach Natalie talk a little bit about migraines and how that affects, and that can be secondary to depression.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Ian. Okay, so migraine secondary to depression, there's a number of headaches. It doesn't just have to be migraines. It could be migraines, tension headaches, or post-traumatic headaches. Those are the most common, but there's actually over 150 types of headaches recognized by the VA for compensation. Really what you're looking at here is if you do suffer from headaches, it's important that you get seen by your doctor, make sure you have a diagnosis. If you're already service connected for mental health or you intend to get service connected for mental health, this is a claim that you can put secondary to it. Okay, so there's a connection between migraines and depression where it affects almost 80% of those with migraines, right? So depression can cause the headaches. All right, this is actually something where we consider it to be bidirectional, right? Which means that depression can affect headaches and headaches can cause depression. Okay, so a lot of people who are chronic with migraines or headaches in general are more likely to experience intense anxiety, the depression, and even suicidal tendencies. Okay, it's found that actually over a 2-year period, a person with a history of major depression was 3 times more likely than average to have a first migraine attack. And a person with a history of migraines was 5 times more likely than average to have a first episode of depression. So that is another definition or explanation on how it's bidirectional. If you're service connected for one, go ahead and get signed up, speak with a coach, and see how you can potentially get one or the other connected. The way that I boil it down, this all comes down to stress. Okay, so there was another study that results indicated that stress and anxiety were higher in the migraine group than in the control group. Okay, and so again, we're just giving you some information on how this is relatable. All right, so migraine headaches is one of the most common secondary conditions to depression. So if we all had a list as coaches and we're saying, okay, you're already service connected for mental health, more than half the time, it's probably migraines that we're going to start off with. We'll obviously ask our client, our vet, do you have them first and foremost? If you do and you're not diagnosed, please meet with a doctor. But outside of that, that's usually the first one that we're going to go for. Another thing to take into account is headaches are also a side effect of SSRIs. That's a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, is type of medications that they give you. And a list of those, if you're using these and you happen to have the side effect, again, please sign up, do a discovery call. So citalopram, which is also known as Celexa, Lexapro, can't get that word out. Prozac, Paxil, or Zoloft, and even Pexiva. So if you're taking any of those medications and you happen to have side effects with headaches, again, headaches can be secondary to the mental health. Usually when you're putting a condition secondary to another condition, it's important to know that you are more than likely going to need a nexus. All right, so you can get a nexus from our independent medical profession. You can get a nexus from Telemedica, which is our preferred provider network. There's never a requirement that you go directly through them, but we do know the type of quality that they provide when they are writing these services for you. So a nexus is essentially a medical professional's opinion that connects a current diagnosis with an aggravation and or something within your service treatment records, direct to service. Okay, if you're doing it as an aggravation, then that direct to service would be that already pre-service connected condition like mental health, and the nexus would connect that migraine to it. So let's talk about what the VA rating is for migraines. All right, so it's 0 to 50 with 10 and 30 in between. All right, so 0% is for less frequent attacks, usually happening less than once a month. Okay, 10% is with characteristic prostrating attacks. I love that word prostrating. I'll explain in a minute, but that is at least over the last 2 months or last several months, you are having some headaches, but again, still less frequent. Prostrating essentially just means to have to lay flat or horizontal, but there's a characteristic of it. So it's not saying completely prostrating. Now, a 30% rating for migraines, headaches, and again, there's over 150 that the VA takes a look at and acknowledges, But a 30% is you have more than once a month, or at least once a month, really. But I usually say more than once a month where you have some debilitating attacks, but you're still able to kind of operate. It's not stopping you from work. It's not stopping you from your productivity. And then for a 50% rating, and I always say this, is the bar is a little low for folks who really suffer from it, but 50% is 2 or more a month where you are completely just down for the count. That prostrating, having to lay flat, laying horizontal, unable to move, you've had to take off of work. This criteria also includes severe economic inadaptability, which basically means there's some level of impact to your job or your productivity. If you work your own business, you have to stop what you're doing. And so really what this boils down to, if you have a diagnosis for headaches and you can get it service connected, you're going to want to share what your severity and frequency is of your symptoms. And that's it for the migraines. Next, we're going to talk about sleep apnea. Okay, so vets are almost 4 times as likely to have developed sleep apnea compared to the general population. That's just a fact. But sleep apnea and depression is also bidirectional. All right, so depression, I'll get into the depression one, but I'll start with sleep apnea first. So sleep apnea can cause you to have depression if you're not sleeping well enough. You're waking up, you're feeling fatigued, you're feeling groggy, and it's affecting different areas of your life, socially, occupationally, your productivity, financially, all of those areas. It can lead to depression. Now, when it comes to connecting sleep apnea secondary to mental health, this is usually by way of obesity as an interim. Okay, so if you are service connected for mental health and I've got a lot of details on this one. If you're service connected for mental health and you've also been diagnosed with obesity, your BMI is high, definitely cause to reach out and see if there's a claim that you can put in for this. So I'm going to talk about the current ratings for sleep apnea right now. There is a proposal in the works where that's going to change sometime around the middle of October, towards the end of October. And so if you are interested in going for sleep apnea and you're already service connected for mental health, because this can be a lengthy process, I would say, hey, get onto a call with, with one of our reps and get signed up so that you can move forward pretty quickly on this. You would need a nexus letter first and foremost, but the criteria is going to change. So currently right now, 0% is asymptomatic, but you do have documented sleep disorder breathing. All right. So sleep apnea is an upper respiratory condition. A 30% is persistent daytime hypersomnolence. Okay. So this just means daytime tiredness. What most folks know about is that 50%. Right now, it's an automatic assignment of 50% with the use of the CPAP machine. Okay, so it requires use of breathing assistance device such as continuous airway pressure machine. Okay, and then there's also 100% rating, which is chronic respiratory failure with carbon dioxide retention. So you have to be on oxygen, or cor pulmonale, or required tracheostomy. No tracheotomy. Okay, so the new proposed ratings, what they're essentially going to do is still 0% with asymptomatic or without treatment. All right, so that's going to stay the same, but it's going to change. If you're using that CPAP machine and it's actually doing its job, it's helping you breathe through the evening, through the day, whenever you're resting, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, they're going to assign that 10% rating. Okay. 50% will then be if the CPAP is ineffective or you have what they call comorbid condition, which just basically means another condition that makes it so that you can't use the CPAP. That's when they would offer that 50%. And then 100% CPAP is ineffective. You have a comorbid condition, but then you also have end organ damage, like issues with your heart, kidneys, those types of things. All right, I'll pass it on to you.
Thanks, Natalie. So now I'm going to talk about GERD as a secondary to depression. So Medical research supports a connection between GERD and depression. Both veteran and non-veteran studies have reported high rates of comorbidity between PTSD, depression, and gastrointestinal symptoms. In 2013, a study of veterans who deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan found nearly 45% of patients screened positive of PTSD and 23% screened positive depression symptoms. While only 11% of the patients reported GI symptoms, 73.4% of these patients had a positive screening for PTSD and depression, indicative of a significant relationship. So then again, another study was happening in 2015, found an anxiety depression increase, the risk of GERD, and having found the GERD's negative effects on the quality of life, increasing anxiety, depression, and a bidirectional relationship. The more severe the depression, the more severe the GERD. Many veterans with GERD, or acid reflux as it's commonly called, especially those with diagnosed long leaving the military, are eligible under the law of GERD secondary depression. And I'm going to go over what this is, what it was before, because that's partially correct but incorrect. It depends on your situation and when you filed for it and when you had it before too. For example, if veterans are taking SSRIs and to help manage their symptoms of depression, perhaps you're suffering from side effects of the SSRI medication, which can lead to digestive issues. Thus, veterans can get service-connected for GERD as a secondary condition for depression. GERD secondary depression is a VE disability that can be rated at 0, 10, 30, 50, and 80. And if you know about the old system and the old code, this used to be called hiatal hernia, and it was under a different code. I don't recall what that code is, and I'll have to figure that out later. But anyways, it's now is known as esophageal stricture. So it's no longer the conditions that they talk about with acid reflux, though the reflux can cause these conditions. And I'm not explaining this to you as a medical professional, because I'm not that. I'm just explaining to you what we've read in our study. So GERD, commonly known as acid reflux, is a condition where the acid fluid in the stomach travel up to the esophagus, causing esophageal strictures. So in order to qualify for the rating under this new code, there must be a clear history of esophageal strictures documented by an appropriate test, a barium swallow, computerized tomography, or esophageal duodenoscopy. So basically, like they call them endoscopies in some cases too. So here's a few definitions. Recurrent is a stricture between 4 weeks after it's been resolved. Refractory, the stricture persists despite 5 or more dilations. Treatments performed in 2-week intervals. And here's the rating schedule they have currently. I'm going to kind of go backwards, but in the same sense. So 0, documented history without daily symptoms required by the daily medications. So you've got history, but you're just being seen and your requirement of that medication to keep it at bay. 10% is a documented history of esophageal stricture that requires daily medications to control dysphagia, which is trouble swallowing, otherwise asymptomatic. The 30% reading documented history of recurrent esophageal stricture causing dysphagia requiring dilations more than 2 times a year. The 50% is documented of recurrent refractory esophageal stricture causing that dysphagia, also trouble swallowing, requiring 3 or more times a year for those dilations. And then the 80%, the new schedule for the new top rating, documented history recurrent refractory, as was said before, in the 50%, also causing dysphagia, aspiration, undernutrition, substantial weight loss, and the condition requires a surgical correction of the esophageal stricture, percutaneous, esophageal, gastrointestinal tube, PEG tubes. So this one actually requires some other procedure to be performed in order to become 80%.
And if I can just add there, for folks
sure.
who maybe are questioning what is a stricture, think of when it feels like maybe you have a lump in your throat. The stricture basically means difficulty in swallowing. Okay, so if that's what you're feeling, because I know all of this is like technical medical terminology here, but if that's what you're feeling, definitely get with your doctors. Again, there is a new rating, and so you want to make sure that you're understanding this rating criteria here and speaking to the symptoms that you have.
Yeah, a lot of us and a lot of other vets were meeting that other criteria, and it was really kind of a letdown to have to go to this one. That's why we pushed so hard before May 19th to have these pushed forward and get them submitted before that change happened. But moving on, we're going to go to the other side of the house, and we're going to go through IBS and into secondary depression. And as you know, for the new system as well, this one can now be separated. So before they would do IBS connected with GERD, now you can actually have IBS and GERD as a service connection, but you still have to meet the criteria. Medical research points to the connection between IBS and depression. Both psychological and physiological variables appear to play important roles independent in maintenance of the IBS. Recent information suggests that association of IBS, psychiatric disorders may be more fundamental than previously believed, and significant amount of clinical research data suggests the importance of the brain/gut interaction in IBS. In a study published by the National Library of Medicine, they examined and observed high prevalence of psychiatric disorders in patients with IBS. The published literature indicates that the fewer than half of the individuals with IBS seek treatment for it. So of those, 50 to 90% of the psychiatric disorders, including panic attacks, generalized disorder, also known as abbreviation for just GAD, and social phobia, post-traumatic stress disorder, major depression, while those do not seek treatment, tend to be psychologically normal. Veterans should read the BVA decision for 2016, where a veteran was granted secondary service connection for IBS, which was proximately due to the result of medication side effects taken to manage the symptoms of their service-connected disabilities. There's an approximate balance of favorable and unfavorable evidence as to whether the veteran was irritable bowel syndrome, proximately due to the result of pain medications from his service-connected hiatal hernia, now known as esophageal stricture, like we said before, thoracolumbar spine, cervical spine, migraine headaches, bilateral hip, bilateral shoulder, bilateral knee disabilities, resolving all the reasonable doubt in favor the benefit of the doubt doctrine. Tie goes to the runner. The veteran has irritable bowel syndrome secondary to the medication from his service-connected disabilities. You can also see 38 CA 1110, 5103, 5103A, 5107, and 38 CFR 3-102, 159, and 310. The BVA case decision docket number 0605255. We know that it's a lot of jargon that some of you may not understand, but basically what it means is the tie goes to the runner, tie goes to the veteran for what he was actually getting service connected for. But all those other physical conditions or what possibly in the medications may have been causing his IBS, and that's kind of what it boils down to. And if that's the case for you as well, get with one of the veteran ambassadors on our team and get that stuff squared away, because you might have something that you may not even know about. So what is the VA ratings disability rating for secondary depression for IBS? So they go from 10, 20, and 30. And IBS being a digestive system issue, it's often rated under the 38 CFR Part 4, scheduling ratings for irritable bowel colon syndrome or IBS. So the 30% rating, actually we're going to go the 10% rating for it. We're going to actually go the right way, not the wrong way. So 10% rating is abdominal pain related to defecation at least once during the previous 3 months and 2 or more of the following: change in stool frequency, change in stool form, altered passage, straining urgency, mucoria, which is basically mucus that's in the stool, abdominal bloating, and subjective distension. 20%, which is a new rating. We should have just have 10 and 30. So abdominal pain related to defecation for at least 3 days per month during the previous 3 months, or 2 or more of the following. Change in stool and frequency, again, pretty much the same from the previous one, just more frequent and more often in the change of the actual form of what it's supposed to be, as far as the 3 days versus the 2 days. 30% abdominal pain related to defecation at least once per day, so the frequency is increasing. 3 months and 2 or more of the following: change in stool, and so on and so forth, the same as before. So change in stool frequency, form, and passage is what they're looking for. So really what you're looking for also in this whole case is going to be severity of symptoms. How bad is it? How long does it last? And how many times is it happening? So we talk about that in other classes. If you become one of the members, or if you're already a member, we call it the VACI's Golden Circle. So if you are not a member, check out and talk to one of our professionals, our veteran ambassadors, or if you're just ready, you can get on board and get assigned to a coach and go to vaclaimsinsider.com and sign up and be one of the members of the elite program. Natalie, you want to talk about secondary to depression for ED?
Yes, absolutely. So this will be our last and final one before we open it up for Q&A. But there's ED for men, and then there's also female sexual arousal disorder for women. All right, so this falls under a special monthly compensation, specifically SMCK, which is loss of use of creative organs. This is a 0% rating. So if you're looking to go from 90 to 100, this may not help you. It will not help you get closer. But what it does offer is around $130 extra a month. So again, ED is in men, FSAD is what I call it. Female sexual arousal disorder is for women. And then there is a strong connection between both of these conditions and depression. Could be due to antidepressants, could just be due to the psychological effects of what you're experiencing. What's important here to take from all 5 of these conditions, is that you will need a nexus. Okay, you absolutely will need a way to connect these to another service-connected condition, especially depression. There was a study that found that patients in mild to moderate grades of depression with sexual dysfunction was seen in 62.5% of the patient group. Okay, so obviously they found it's significantly associated with the functioning, the ED and the FSAD. Another thing that can contribute, and the last point here, is low testosterone in men. All right, so whether it's you taking medications or depression and anxiety that's affecting you, it's actually fairly common that your testosterone will lessen through that mental journey that you're going through. All right, and so now we are going to get to the Q&A. Let's see.
Yes, thanks for bearing with us and getting through this. I hope you guys got a lot of great information, taking some notes down and stuff like that. That's very, very valuable. And there was a few knowledge bombs in there that we didn't actually put into the notes that Coach Natalie found on her own, as far as that new rating scale for the obstructive sleep apnea. So I hope you took some notes on that one, because that's a good one.
I would absolutely say move pretty quick on that if you are not service connected for it, but you're using a CPAP. Get signed up, meet with our team, and get a coach. All right, so I have a question from Johnny Ray. Do you help if you are 80% to 100? My back and nerve pain down both legs. Yes, absolutely. Sign up with the Veteran Ambassador and get a discovery call. Absolutely. We work with vets from the entire spectrum. If you're sitting at 0 or if you're sitting at 90, if you've been struggling for years trying to get certain conditions service connected, we certainly can provide coaching on that.
Marvin Jenkins says, hello, all from Milwaukee. I'm currently service connected for OSA. My doctor also wrote in his notes that I have insomnia. Can I also claim insomnia? So currently with the schedule right now, insomnia is considered as a condition of, or not, I'm sorry, not a condition, a symptom of mental health, not a condition or a rateable condition for mental health. So can't be service connected necessarily for insomnia, but you could be service connected for mental health condition. Say, for example, like we were talking about before, mental health or your obstructive sleep apnea could cause that depression, could cause that anxiety. But again, if you're not already assigned to a coach, please go on to the VA Claims Insider website, get assigned to one of our coaches here, either You might even get one of us. But if you're not ready for that and you want a little bit more information about the program, sign up with an ambassador. Get that free call in and check it out.
Yep,
Good
absolutely.
question.
And I'll add
Very.
getting a
Yep.
psych evaluation through Telemedica, our preferred provider network. They would write everything up that needs to be written up, take note and account of all of your symptoms. But insomnia does fall under, like Coach Ian was saying, it falls under mental health. So it's more so defined as sleep disturbances. So it's not that we would say, hey, cut insomnia out altogether. You're just going to talk more about your sleep disturbances if that's one of your main symptoms, and you'll speak to the severity of it.
Absolutely.
I have yet to see, so one point of view, yet to see where there's anything major coming about the shots. I know which shots they're talking about. It's the one that leaves the bubble on the arm. We were all kind of provided, and then there were issues. I haven't seen anything serious or documented yet about that, and I haven't even seen anyone win any claims on that just yet.
I'd second that. Edward Miles, I was having headaches, pressure in 2015. I was diagnosed with cancer melanoma. I was denied because I wasn't in combat zone, even though we did desert training in 82. I also diagnosed with sleep apnea. They have me with the CPAP, was denied because I was a post 9/11 veteran. I'm not sure if that was a question or if that was more of a comment. But if you weren't in the combat zone areas where they talk about for the presumptives, right now, so case studies can change, things can change for presumptive conditions, like that we're talking about is more related to the PACT Act. That's common things too. So just be on the lookout for anything that could change with the VA. But currently, right now, we do not have, or the VA does not have any presumptive conditions for anything that's not within the Southwest or Southeast Asia for those particular cancers. But definitely keep pressing forward. You might have something else, Edward, to work on that could get you over the hump or get you where you feel you deserve. But again, going to reiterate, if you're not already a client, get on that free call with that veteran ambassador and get that ball rolling so you can get those claims and those benefits that you deserve.
Awesome. And then I will also add that even though a condition may not be considered a presumptive, it doesn't mean that it can't be service connected. So just likely means you got to get with the doctor and get a nexus that can maybe connect it to another service connected condition. Jeff Finney. Hi, Jeff. I know you. Are there any IBS apps? I haven't seen anything specific for IBS, but I do know that there are symptom tracking apps out there. It's probably a simple Google app or Apple app search. I don't have anything specific that comes to mind, but I have myself used a few in the past. Of course, Migraine Buddy is an app for tracking, but there's also one for pain management. And so you just would have to kind of search your app store and see what you can find.
Absolutely.
Mel White, what did you call the ED 0% monthly 130 payout? Okay, so it's a special monthly compensation, and it falls under SMC TAC K. Loss of creative or loss of use of a creative organ.
Christina Sermons has got a good question here too. I had a gallbladder removal post-service. No symptoms documented while in service. However, now diagnosed with IBS connected to complications of PTSD. However, is a strong possibility to be denied IBS because of the gallbladder removal. Good question. And there is actually a new code for gallbladder removal or removal of that organ and for the IBS rating too. So you could possibly be secondary diagnosed for that complication of the PTSD as well. Anything else to add there, Nat?
No, not for that one.
Okay. You're with your coach if you're already with a coach. If you're not, again, sign up, get on board, get that ball rolling, because there's a lot of things that change with the digestive system in May 19th. That does talk about bladder removal and some other things too. There's a cool resource that we have once you become a elite member called Military Disability Made Easy, and it's got that whole digestive tract explained from all the different systems that are on there too, and it explains a lot of that stuff as well.
Beautiful. Kristen Brown, what was the CPAP info again, and how do I file for FSAD? Okay, so I believe you're asking what is the VA disability ratings for the sleep apnea. Currently, it's 0%. They do have a 30%. I rarely see anyone rated at 30. But what most folks, if you're using a CPAP machine, it's a 50% rating automatic assignment with the use of that machine. That is scheduled to change with the proposed rating here in October. They also offer 100%, but that is if you have some more severe issues, like you have to be on oxygen and require a tracheostomy. What they are changing that to, and hence why I'm saying everyone, if you're interested in sleep apnea, move forward with it quickly. That automatic assignment of 50% is no longer going to be there if that CPAP is actually working. You have less breathing occurrences or lack of breathing occurrences per evening. It's actually doing what it's supposed to do. Then they will rate you at a 10%. And if it becomes asymptomatic, then it's a 0%. Okay, so in order to still receive a 50%, if you file after October, CPAP has to be ineffective, or you have another condition that makes it to where you cannot use that CPAP or any other device that they're providing at this point. And for 100%, you have end organ damage there. And then to answer your next question, how do you file for female sexual arousal disorder? This typically is going to require a nexus. Again, it's a 0% rating. You can go through our preferred provider network, a separate organization, Telemedica, if you sign up with us, or you can see if you know any doctor that's willing to write that and connect it to your mental health. We do prefer that you go through Telemedica because, again, we do know what type of services that they provide.
Correct. Max KZ is IBS and GERD underneath the same rating. As of May 19th, they're not. They weren't before, but they can be rated separately before as well. 7206 is the rating code for GERD, and 7319 is the new rating code for IBS. It is called IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, not irritable colon syndrome, as it was stated before.
Angela Moreland, is there a fee to meet with an ambassador? Do I have to file my initial claim before requesting assistance from a coach? No fee, and no, do not file a claim prior to meeting with a coach. So the way that our fees work, we do not charge anything until you win your claim. All right. So you have access to resources, you have access to coaches, you can even speak to a veteran ambassador and get started as soon as possible, really. And just gather as much information from them to make an informed decision if you'd like to move forward with us. And then the idea of should you file an initial claim before requesting assistance from a coach? What we're going to do as coaches is we're going to go over a strategy with you. We're going to do a gap analysis. We're going to figure out what's missing from your claims, what's missing from the conditions that you have. Are you missing medical evidence? Are you missing a nexus? So if you were to file that claim beforehand, you may lose out on gathering that knowledge and getting that education and coaching. So it would be best to just wait, meet with your coach, and then they will coach you on what you need to do next. And
Stephen Cordell had another question about, so our Nexus letters covering the charges. So again, Telemedica is our preferred provider network. Their fees and everything is disassociated from our fees. So when you start with us, it's absolutely free until you win your claims. Then their fees are paid up front in full. But of course, get with your coach about that. That may not be a route for you. That's always we always tell people too. This is not a cookie cutter system where everything one size fits all. It's not. You may have enough evidence in your record to show that nexus. So definitely get with a coach. Definitely get with a veteran ambassador if you need more information about that, and get on board.
Yep, absolutely. Brittany Hardy, please share secondary conditions to FSAD. Don't think I went over secondary conditions to FSAD. FSAD can be secondary to depression. I hope that answers the question. First thing you guys want to do is get diagnosed from your doctors. So if you're having an issue, meet with your doctors. If you're already using the VA system, one really cool tool is that secure messaging on My Healthy Vet, and you can just message your doctor away like, hey, this is an issue that I'm dealing with. Haven't really brought it up before, but it's really starting to affect my life, and get started from there. They will then move you on to referrals and whatever it is that they need to do, or schedule an appointment.
And Mac's question is more of a related scenario question. So MDD claims secondary tinnitus to migraines to musculoskeletal conditions. We touched on these secondary conditions. There could be other classes for that or other Facebook Lives for it, but just give you an example. Tinnitus could be secondary to mental health in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Same as migraines, same as musculoskeletal conditions. We call these lifestyle impact claims. It's impacting your life in a sense that you're having problems communicating with your loved ones. And migraines could be causing you problems because of the pain factor, and you're taking time away from work. So now you're getting the occupational impairment, and the same for musculoskeletal conditions too. That pain factor, if it's bad enough and it's causing those social and occupational impairments, or your quality of life at home too. Okay, you're not being able to get down on the floor with your kids and play because your knees are bothering you so much, or your back is bothering you so much. So again, these are things that I go over with my vets too all the time, because lifestyle impact is huge right now.
Mm-hmm.
Those that don't understand that if you might have mental health and not even know it, just because of the fact that you may have a physical condition that's causing you that grief. So again, get on with the veteran ambassador, get that free call in, talk to one of those individuals, talk about the program, answer or ask all your questions that you want to ask about the program if you don't understand anything that we're talking about today. Or if you are ready and you're just ready to go and get the ball rolling, schedule that free call and get assigned to a coach.
Beautiful. Fred Smith, can ADHD be secondary to anxiety? You wouldn't want to do that. If you're already service connected for anxiety, really what ends up happening with mental health is they lump them all together. Okay, so it's just a new diagnosis, but it's under the same claim. All right, so of course, in the grand scheme of things, it could be, but as far as putting a claim in for it, it wouldn't necessarily be worth it. You're going to spin your wheels and spend time doing another compensation and pension exam for them to potentially rate you at the same level. Adding another mental health condition does not add more percentage to what you already have. They are looking at your mental health overall and what symptoms you struggle with overall. Okay, Fred Smith, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea and was issued CPAP, but can't use it with the mouth guard. Can you be awarded 50% sleep apnea whether you use the CPAP or not? Based off of the proposed new criteria after October, of course, you're going to need a nexus letter to corroborate all of that. But sure, right? So that's a comorbid condition. You have to use that mouth guard for another medical condition that you're suffering from. So if you can't use that CPAP, that's what is under that criteria for that 50%.
Yeah, I think Christina's asking kind of the same question about the air shot that we got in the military before, but in the same sense too. It doesn't mean that you can't get, but currently right now, there's no presumptive factors linking it back to that, or any kind of way of just presuming the nexus. but you still can possibly get it service connected. Get with your doctor if you got connections or you've got conditions that were caused by or you felt that were by that, and you can get a nexus to prove it. It could be a possibility, but there's not a one size fits all for everything as far as the answer goes. But as far as that goes, if you get a nexus and it's clear path that you can get it service connected, it might be a possibility.
Absolutely. Lynn Clark, when filing claim for mental health, you had a doctor's DBQ that said 70%, and then the VA exam said 50%. Should you appeal? How would you answer this, Ian? I mean, well, I know the answer, but I think it would be best if you signed up and got a coach. However, absolutely. If it were me, if you have an independent medical opinion that has a higher rating and the VA underrates you, absolutely it's okay. You disagree with that rating because you saw someone, you spent time with that individual, giving your whole story, pouring your heart out, and they took decent notes and the VA underrated you. So absolutely you can appeal. The reason why I say get with your coach is because we do provide coaching and education on how you can better understand your symptoms and convey that if you appeal it.
Absolutely. All right, we'll just kind of recap the topic today. We're talking about the top 5 conditions that were secondary to depression and in mental health in general. If we didn't get to your question, you can always join any of the Facebook Lives. Or again, like we said before, get on board, get a coach, get assigned to a coach, get that ball rolling, and get what you deserve. And again, if you're not ready and you need some more clarification, book that free discovery call with one of our professionals over here as a veteran ambassador. So talked about strategy, education, medical evidence, building up that strategy, that game plan, getting the additional education that we have on our resources, whether it's your coach giving you a blog or a video or just some information. And then medical evidence is what wins claims, whether it's from that preferred provider network, Telemedica, or from your service agreement records or your private records. We do give a one-on-one coaching through this process. So you and the coach and their EPC will be within that spectrum of what exactly you're working with on that one-on-one coaching, so that you're not thrown all over the place with different people and you're just basically feeling like a number. We don't want you to be there. Okay. So you have that individual strategy session with them. You guys are going to build that claim. Okay. You build that fully developed claim. And then we're also going to do some C&P education too. Okay. We're not going to leave you through the wayside and just like, all right, good luck. No, we're going to be on that call with you before you go to that C&P exam, so that you are well prepared to go into that exam, so that you are knowledgeable and educated and really understand what exactly is going to be expected. Okay. Live classes on Zoom, Monday through Friday, except for Wednesdays, we have Facebook Live. And then Fridays, we only have coffee with the coaches. But we do have classes throughout the week, both mental health, exam education, medical exam education throughout the process. Check out Brian's brand new book, both electronically and physically. If you want to get that hard copy of that paper book copy of VA Claims Secrets, is now available. Order on Amazon today. The link will be shared here in the comments as well. Again, want to learn more, schedule that free discovery call. Talk to one of our team members to go on to vaclaimsinsider.help. So if you need help, reach out to the organization, vaclaimsinsider.com. We'd love to partner with you on your VA claim journey. Natalie, always a pleasure to do class with you. We made it through it. Each and every one of you, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for your sacrifice, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.